Hi guys, we are starting a series on HTML and CSS training from Code Learning Hub. We want to cover full stack .NET training with this channel, and we started with HTML CSS training video series first, and then we'll move on to JavaScript, React, and .NET side of the things. So please support our channel Code Learning Hub by subscribing and sharing the channel to your friends. Let's get into the first video of the HTML CSS training. So we'll see the introduction of HTML today. So what is HTML? So HTML, we all know that HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and this is the only language that is understood by the browser. So we use this language to design a structured web page. And if you wonder what is Hypertext Markup Language in HTML means, so hypertext means so let me just open one web page. So here I have opened this Wikipedia of English, and here you see some text that are in blue color, right? They are not just text. They are called as a hypertext. Means when you click on these links, it is going to take you to another web page. And it is a markup language. Means it is a language structure where the text will be between the tags. So that's how the language is defined. Even XML is a markup language. If you consider this example where the student's information are stored in this way, so I have student's root tag, and inside this, so I have the student information are stored like this in student tags, and ID and name are child tags of student. So where I have information about the student in this form. And similarly, you also have this HTML in the form of markup language where so you will have this HTML tag. So this is the root node, root tag for all of our HTML code. And inside this, we'll have also head tag and one more sibling tag inside this, that is body tag. So anyway, we are going to talk about the structure of this HTML later. Yeah. So, but I'm trying to say this is a markup language similar to XML, and it is the only language to create the web pages that I have mentioned this already. And so how we save the text file using .txt. Similarly, we have to save the HTML file with .html extension. We also going to see this practically after some time. The features of HTML. Learning curve is very easy, and it is easy to modify the HTML code. By using HTML, you can create effective web pages. You can also display these web pages on different platforms like Windows, Mac, Linux, any operating system where you have a working web browser. And you can also add graphics, videos, and audios and different multimedia media elements into your web page to make your web application or your web pages more attractive. And this is case insensitive language. Means you can write the capital case or lowercase of your choice. So here we generally write the HTML in the lowercase, right? But if you even if you write this HTML in capital case, even this should work. So that's why this HTML is called as a insensitive language, case insensitive language. And IDE. So IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So this means it is a tool where you can develop the web applications. So I personally prefer the Visual Studio Code as IDE for the development of HTML and CSS code. Few advantages using this Visual Studio Code. So like it's open source, means you don't need to purchase this one, and we'll have community support. We have any issues, also IntelliSense, and we see the IntelliSense feature when we are developing the HTML and CSS coding. We'll see that as well. And cross-platform means this Visual Studio Code application will be running in different platforms. It is going to work like Windows, Mac, and Linux, and different OSs. And so I already have installed Visual Studio on my machine. So if you don't have on your machine, just search for Visual Studio Code download. Then click on this link to download the Visual Studio Code. So if you want to download for your Windows machine, you can click on this, and for Mac here. Okay. So after that, you can just install the Visual Studio Code. So this is my Visual Studio Code. I'm going to recommend a few extensions that I need you to download and install. So HTML, CSS support, JavaScript and TypeScript nightly and live server. So let's try to install that. So here we have few tabs, like, so one is for to open our project if you have created one, and so one is to search the word inside a project. So if you want to search for one any text inside the project, you can click on, you can use this option. And this is to integrate your source control like Git, and this is one is for run and debug, and this is one for your extension. So you can just click on the extensions and search for HTML and CSS support. So please install this extension. I already have installed, so I see this uninstall button. So just install this one, and JavaScript and TypeScript nightly. Yeah. Even this needs to be installed. As I have installed on my machine, it says in uninstall option, and live server. So even this needs to be installed. So as I have installed, it shows uninstall on this on my machine. Okay. So this live server is to host your application on the in our local machine. Yeah. So basic skeleton of HTML. Yeah. So to explain this, I just want to create one project and then explain this. So I'll go to create a project. I am gonna select this open folder, and I'm going to uh, click on this, and so now this is my project. So I'm gonna select this one. So inside this, so there are two options. One is to create a file, and this is to create a folder. I'm gonna select file, and so I am gonna say this is introduction. So I'll say introduction.html. So like I said before, we have to give the .html extension for HTML files. And here, so we have installed few extensions, right? One is HTML and CSS support extensions. So by using that HTML CSS support extension, it will give you few code snippets by using few shortcuts. I'll use one shortcut here, that is exclamation mark. When you give exclamation mark and click enter, then it is going to give me the basic skeleton of HTML automatically. Okay, this is given by HTML and CSS support extension. Now, so I just want to open this HTML file or this web page on the browser. So for this, I need to click on this on the, I need to right click on this, and I see an option for open with live server. So this is again by the live server extension that we have installed just before. Okay. So when you click on this, it is going to host our application on the browser. And let's I just add one paragraph element here. This is first paragraph. Okay. So once you save it, then you see this is going to get reflected automatically. Let's look at the HTML skeleton. Yeah. So this doc type element is an instruction to the browser that it is an HTML file, and then we'll have HTML tag. So which is so this is the root element for all of our HTML code. So when you're writing an HTML code, that should be everything wrapped should be wrapped under HTML tag, and then head tag. So inside this head tag, whatever you're going to write, it doesn't reflect on the browser. And so there is a title tag. So whatever you write here, that is going to display on the web browser tab. Means you see on the tab, what you see? You see document, right? So that's there because we have this document in this title tag. So if you just change this, if you just want to change this, you can do it. So I'll say introduction web page. Okay. So so now this file is not saved. So and if you try to look at the browser, see I still have document because my file is not saved. How do you know that my file is not saved? So you see here this white circle there, right? So means the file is not saved. When you say Control S, then it is going to save the file. Then you can see the difference. I mean, you can see the text that is updated. Introduction web page. We will be having different other information like the metadata and links and different scripts. And when you are referring the external CSS file or external JavaScript files, so those information also we will be writing in the head tag. Whatever we write in this head tag will not be reflected on the browser. So we'll see in detail later about external CSS and external JavaScript files referring in this particular head inside the head tag. Now the body tag. So whatever you are going to write in this body tag, that will be reflected on the browser. So means I have created a paragraph tag, so which is going to display the paragraph text on the browser. So that is displayed in the browser because we have written this inside a body tag. Okay. In comments. So HTML comments don't render on the browser. And so let's say I have an existing project where I have 100 lines of the code are there, 1000 lines of the code are there. So then if I am immediately to look at one part of the section of that HTML file, it will be difficult to understand, right? For any fresher or for any developer to look at the code again, once and then to understand the code, it will be difficult to understand. So that's why, mm, so the HTML comments is going to help you to understand the code better. Means, let's say you're writing a particular section of the code is for some purpose, then you can write a comment. Let's say this section is for this section is for introduction. Okay. Then to write the comments in the browser, you just have to say Control K C. Yeah, that's it. So this is going to be commented like this, and when you just save it, and if you look at the browser, it doesn't reflect. So the comments will not be reflected on the browser, or you can also say comments will not be rendered on the browser. So you can see when you write the comments on a code, then it makes the code more readable and also it will be very easy to understand by any other developers. In HTML elements. So I have this paragraph, right? Let me write one more paragraph and I'll say second paragraph. This is second paragraph. And let's say I want to, so when you look at the browser, so I see both the paragraphs are getting displayed. Let's say I want to change the color of this paragraph to red from black. Right now, by default, it is black. Okay, so I have two paragraphs here, and if you see that on the browser, so you see them in black color. So now let's say I want to change the color of this paragraph into a red color. Then I'll use this style attribute, and then I'll use the proper color CSS property called color, and I can give red. Okay, so once I save it and see in the browser, so that gets reflected here. So now I want to give the background color of black to this paragraph element. Then I'll use in the same style attribute, I'll use the background color CSS property, and then just I'll write black. So once I save it, then you can see that on the browser. Okay. So if you want to style, so if you want to get the background color of black in for all the for the whole web page, then I can write that background color to black inside the body tag itself. So I'll use the same style tag here as well, and then I'll say background color to black. So once I save it, see, I have a background color of black, and the first paragraph is in red color. The second element is not visible because the default color of the paragraph is black and the background color is also black, so we are not able to see. So now I want to change the color of the second paragraph as well so that I can see them on the browser. So for this, I want to give the background color white. Sorry, not background color. I want to give the color to white so that it will be displayed. Yeah, now it is getting displayed. Okay. So now, if you look at this one, so from here to here, we we are going to call this as a element. Okay. So where P is called tag, P is called tag, and the style is an attribute, and the uh, style is called attribute name, and whatever this text like color white, whatever you have written inside this style attribute, so that is attribute value. And so within the Angular base, if you have P, then that is a opening tag, and within the Angular base, and you have one backslash, then this is called a closing tag. And the text from here to here, this is called content. Next one, files and folder structure of a HTML project. Okay, so in the root HTML, I just have this HTML files directly, right? So in real time, we will be having different folders. You might be using the image files in your project, so that is when you will create a folder called images, and you will store all the image files into this images folder. And similarly, you will be using the external CSS files as well. So you will be creating one more folder. Um, so outside, let's say CSS. So all those CSS files, those external CSS files go into here. Now I'll write one more folder called JS. So all the external JavaScript files will go into this JS folder. Then you can place all the HTML files outside, or if you want to group some HTML files together into one group, then you can create one folder and then move all the HTML files into that particular folder. But I'm going to have all the HTML files outside and different sections for CSS, images, and JS files. So this is how my folder structure I'm going to maintain. That's all for today. I'll come back soon for the next part of the HTML CSS training. Thanks all.